Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're having an amazing evening. Join us on another round of Jenny Lives. It's been a while. I think it's been a few months, and I decided let's go ahead and do a month of Jenny Lives because we have so many things to talk about, so many interesting things that have been going on. We might be a little rusty though, so let us know if everything's a-okay. How's our audio? How's the image? It's like once you have the studio off and it's like you get back and it's like, okay, lights on, everything's back on, let's see what happens. So yeah, first one, and I think we're probably going to be here for about a month and then maybe we'll resume in Miami. So if you guys have any topics you want to share with us, please let us know. We are live and the chats are open. So as I said, first one, let's see how it comes out. After 1,300 Jenny Lives, there's apparently new topics to always talk about. So hello, hello. ¿Cómo están, amigos? Muy buenas noches, bienvenidos. Estamos en vivo en directo desde las hermosas selvas de Tulum y con otro Jenny Live. Vamos a hacer otra maratón de, no sé, un mes por lo menos, un mes, media horita. Sí, sí me presto. Después de hacer 1,300 programas, creo que me merecía un descanso. Pero bueno, aquí estamos con todo el gusto y el placer del mundo. Si están en vivo con nosotros, hace como 4 o 5 meses que no hacemos el programa, entonces esto fue opción de decir, bueno, prendamos otra vez todo el estudio y a ver qué tal sale. Entonces avísennos si todo sale bien, si todo se ve bien, el audio, ok, mañana estará mejor seguro. No sé si encima de acordarse aquí cómo mostrar el chat en pantalla, estamos volviendo a recordar todo, así que en vivo, en directo para ustedes. Y tengo muchas historias para contarles. He estado de gira, he estado de viaje, escribí un libro. Así que mucho ha pasado. Dicen que el audio no se escucha. Okay, that's what I said. I'm like, it might be a little broken today. So let's see. Hi, Ricardo. How are you? So for some of you, it's broken. Let's see. Let's lower it a bit. Or maybe we could just go back to our lavalier microphones. Un abrazo, Fabian. Hi, guys. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. It's been a while. Okay, before we start with our topics, there's going to be a few strange topics that I thought was like, what is going on? Okay, did you know that there's an Italian artist that sold an invisible sculpture for $18,000? I mean, can we talk about money laundering for a little bit? Like, does that mean like we can even print out invisible money and pay with that? How is this even a thing? How is it possible? And it's like, well, the sculpture, it's made of air and spirit. So yes, energy is real. Maybe it's becoming a little bit more real than we would expect. But I wonder how this affects, because most of the people that buy art, right, as we all know, is because it's tax deductible. So it's a good way to invest in these things, and you have art, so that's a way of saving money, right? But how do you, like literally, how is there a law that allows you to buy something that's invisible? So any of us could just from one day to the next say, oh, well, I made a piece of art. It's right here. It's right here, guys. It's whatever you want it to be. It's your imagination. It's air and spirit and energy all together. The guy was even wearing red gloves when he was when he was unveiling the piece of art. I think that's a little bit much. I don't know if this was sold in Italy, but it's real, it's legit, and he seems to be very proud of it. So $18,000 for nothing. Interesting. A ver ahora, ¿cómo están? Bueno, si me ponen otra vez el chat aquí, puedo ver lo que están diciendo. ¿Sabían de que hay un artista italiano, antes de que empecemos con nuestros temas motivacionales, como siempre? Saludos, Fabián, Ricardo, bienvenidos. ¿Sabían de que hay un artista italiano que vendió una escultura invisible por $18,000? Tenía que empezar con esto porque digo, bueno, yo soy todo a favor, ¿no?, de la energía, ya saben, es más, tengo muchas historias para darles, pero honestamente que llegamos a un punto donde realmente es como que, bueno, te voy a pagar con dinero invisible, está bien, y sabemos de que mucha gente, la mayoría, compran arte porque quieren pues ahorrar su dinero, es una forma de deducir de taxes, es una forma de tener dinero ahorrado en obras de arte. Sin embargo, comprar algo que no existe, pero claro, todo es debatible porque pues, la energía sí existe. Entonces tenía unos guantes rojos y mostraba la escultura está aquí, está hecha cosa de aire, energía y pues tu imaginación. Entonces básicamente estás, no sé, pagando por tu imaginación, literal. Así que cualquiera de nosotros hoy en día hemos llegado a ese punto y nivel de mentalidad donde cualquier cosa va. Anything goes today, right? It's like whatever. O sea, lo que sea ya es factible con tal de que le pongamos arte. Okay. Yo me acuerdo cuando empezamos hace 17 años y bueno, con el tema de la ropa y todo, y hoy en día hay en Miami fashion shows donde es ropa que no es ropa ni siquiera, perdón, hay artistas, ¿no? Donde las chicas están solamente siendo cubiertas con cinta. Y yo digo, le decía a Enrique, si nosotros hace 17 años hubiéramos hecho eso, nos hubieran dicho pues, de todo, cosa que también fue. Pero que hoy en día cualquier cosa va con tal de que digas que es arte, ¿no? Si no dices que es arte, pues ya es pornográfico. Pero si dices que es arte, está todo bien. I remember 17 years ago when we started, and we were like one of the first to do the very skimpy clothing and stuff. And now going back to Miami and seeing some of the Miami Fashion Week shows and Swim Week, which is things that we would cover, you see art, right, or things that are being portrayed as art, where it's basically just a naked person, and they're being either created art on stage or they're being put tape on. I'm like, if we were to do something like that many, like when we started, honestly, it would have just been called pornographic because that's how it used to be. But it's like, oh my God, how things have changed. ¿Cómo estamos con el audio? Más o menos. ¿En dónde?
En YouTube no hay audio.
Oh, okay. So YouTube is mute. You guys have to go to miamitv.com. We have audio. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. But you guys can see me. Buenas noches, ¿cómo estamos? Bienvenidos. Hola, hola, qué gran verte en Jenny Live, otra temporada en internet. Qué bueno, Miami TV. Sí, vamos a estar en miamitv.com o en todos los canales donde salga Miami TV, ahí es donde estaremos, ¿ok? Mientras tanto, continuamos con los temas de hoy. No sé si supieron, desde hace 4 meses que he estado de viaje a través de México, decidí pues tomar el auto y hacer una gira a través de México por toda la parte de la costa. Extremadamente hermoso, todo el mundo, estás loca, no hagas eso, qué peligro, encima una mujer sola, no, qué va, no hagas eso, Jenny, qué peligroso, por todo lo que se escucha, ¿no? Pero en realidad a la larga no hubo en ninguna de mis paradas tuve problema, en ningún momento me sentí insegura, todo fue absolutamente perfecto y el viaje más que nada era para ir buscando chamanes, para ir haciendo documentales sobre chamanes, lo cual fue muy difícil encontrar porque ya casi no hay. Entonces llegamos a un punto donde sí me topé con 1 o 2 personas que sabían de lo que estaban haciendo y terminamos, estos programas lo pueden ver igual en Miami TV o igual hice un canal de YouTube nuevo solo por diversión que se llama mi nombre, Jens Cordamaglia, pero sin la Y, por ese ya me lo habían sacado. Right. If you guys go to the website, okay, miamitv.com, you can hear me. I can't do mimical, so I went on a trip for a few months, for 4 months, and the idea was to go around the coastal area of Mexico, okay, and try to find shamans. So every part where I would end up, I went with a nature guide, nature guide MX Pedro, and he was great. You know, it's always good to be with someone that's Mexican because they kind of, you know, you're not only this like blonde tourist woman that people get to take advantage of and steal, you know, when they give you the prices for the tours and stuff. So that's good. So on the way there, I took our friend Pedro as a camera guy, and that was fun. He would sleep with his face all taped up because I could not stand people snoring. I wish I would have taken pictures of that. And it actually helped him so much that he stopped snoring after like maybe a week on the tour. So he's like, and he lost weight. So he's like, Jenny, this is great for me. I'm like, good. Because I only eat healthy stuff, you know, so yeah. Anyway, so we ended up stopping in small little towns on the coastal areas of Mexico. Met with some amazing people. I always say that when you are connected to energy, when you're in the right path, when you're connected to what you believe is guiding you, right? It's like your intuition, your source. You always end up in the right place. And I can't enhance this enough to tell everybody that honestly, if you're ever in that kind of path where you can trust your gut 100%, then you should take a trip only by selecting the destination, you know? So just say, well, today I'm gonna go to Guadalupe, for example. I have a cousin there. And don't make too many plans. Just allow yourself to buy a ticket there. Okay. And then if you're into this spiritual path and awakening, then the energy is going to guide you to a place where you will meet the right people that you're not going to be able to find on, online, for example, because people that actually do have connections to energy and are real don't necessarily put up their services online. Okay. So for us, it was like, okay, let's go to these small little towns and ask around. Right? So you just start talking to people. So where's the wizard of the town? And they would say, oh no, you know, here there's no longer any wizards, or yes, there's this woman that does the healing with the eggs over there on the corner. And you just have your own experience, right? And sometimes these aren't experiences to blog out. I'm in the point, honestly, where it's kind of even gotten annoying for me to go in these kind of trips and having to film everything. So for me, it was like, okay, priority energy trip, right? Where it's like everything is just guided by energy and my experiences and what I know that has helped and guided me for so many years. And then if I can get something on camera on the way there, great. The friend that I was with, he was more of a photographer, camera guy, you know, like taking pictures. So he had never recorded before. So it was like, he was the person I chose that I had met a month and a half before the trip. And when we met, we said, this was just kind of meant to be. And I'm like, you're meant to be on this trip for me, because he's also very perceptive. So the moment we met, it was just like, you know, I've seen you before. You're the person I've been waiting for, like, because he was looking for healing for a place where his sister had a hotel, and it's a long story. Anyway, so having this trip with someone that was already perceptive and going to places, meeting with locals, meeting with Mayans, you know, and having somebody to be able to kind of open the path was just wonderful. We ended up in small little places, actually very close to Tulum, where I can go back at any time. I realized, I'm like, okay, I could go back to these places. Let's just keep going. Where there's like cemetery of Mayans or you know, that people don't really know, and they're very, very energetical places, but not in a good way, you know, like in a bad way. Like these are places where you could see, you know, things at night or hear creatures, or people will get really sick just by crossing by. So every place that we would stop, we would get these amazing stories that some of them were really creepy, others were great, some of them were just unbelievable. And it's just, for me, it's just so enriching, because when it comes to energy, like wherever it is that you visit, no matter what religion they practice or what belief that they have, energy is energy. And if they call, you know, little gnomes alushis here in Mexico, they have in Tulum and Quintana Roo, they have a different kind of name for them in another part and state of Mexico, like Oaxaca. And then you go to you know, like the leprechauns, right, in Ireland. But in the end, they're kind of all the same. It's just they call them different things and they have different views. Anyway, so that was really nice. That was really interesting. I always say that it's more enriching when you get to have one-on-one with locals, where they tell you their stories, because they're not telling you a story to like lie or get anything from you. They're just, nobody ever asked them about any kind of energy stuff because it's still a taboo thing. So a lot of stuff I just kind of, I take with me and other stuff I was able to film, but not so much. So those kind of conversations I notice that always happen when the camera isn't on. I'm like, oh God, come on. And then I realized in one of the trips that we made, which was the last one, which was a mushroom ceremony, I actually left the microphones on through it. It was a black and white recording, and I'm like, I'm going to try to record as much audio as I can, because the guy was talking about, it was a real shaman, and he was talking about real possessions that he had helped people in, you know, people that were that joked around with energy work and ended up being really possessed and almost like having leprosy on their skin, like their skin was falling apart to pieces. People that, oh, you can hear me now. Other stories of meeting women, you know, telling me their stories about how their husbands were killed by the neighbor's sorcery. And it's like some of the things I was able to record, others not. But that one that I recorded with the shaman, which is the new video that's up on the other YouTube channel, Jen Scortamaglia. It was like an hour long of recording, and through the recording, when he started chanting his indigenous voice and calling his ancestors, you can hear really creepy noises being like interfering in the conversation. So you can hear it. We try to make it as short as possible, because when my editor uploaded the whole show, it was like an hour and a half, and I'm like, nobody's gonna listen to this. Like, you gotta just leave like little parts of it, and that's enough. But everything was on, you know, everything was recorded on camera, and it's amazing because these are different frequencies. And when you have real people that are working with real energy, these voices come through. It's really normal. So if you are interested in that kind of stuff, go ahead and check out the other channel. Bueno, okay. That is going to take me to something that called my attention in those topics as well, which was Dan Rivera. Dan Rivera, which was the last person to hold the Annabelle doll, a 54-year-old paranormal investigator and handler of the Annabelle doll for the New England Society for Psychic Research, suddenly died on July 13, 2025 during the Devils on the Run tour in Gettysburg. MiamiTV.com. ¿Puedes poner la web, por favor, en la parte de abajo para que la puedan ver? Rivera was found unresponsive in his hotel room, and the Adams County coroner reported no suspicious circumstances, with the cause of death pending autopsy results expected within 60 to 90 days. Authorities confirmed that the Annabelle doll was not in the room at the time of his death, possibly stored in a van in the hotel parking lot. Of course, everybody that's not into superstition and not into energy is just going to say, oh, come on, he just had a heart attack, whatever. But I can't like enhance this enough that I don't mind people not believing in energy stuff. I don't mind, you know, it's like whatever flows in your road. Like if it's not part of your life, it's not part of your life. But when it comes to playing around with this stuff, if you don't respect it, it can kill you. If you could see and talk to as many people that I've talked to throughout Mexico alone, okay, on people that have lost loved ones because of sorcery, it's disgusting. People in Latin America, especially in Central America, it's almost like they take it as a joke, and just, if they don't like you, they'll just throw sorcery at you. So they'll go to someone that maybe knows what they're talking about, you know, kills a goat or an animal or a cat or whatever they can get their hands on, and play around just because they need to live from something. So they'll take your money. It's very expensive. And that's it, you know? And it's like, oh, but I don't believe in that stuff. Great, but somebody just died. So I feel like when people don't believe in that stuff, it's good, because in a way you're protecting yourself from something like that. If the moment you start believing, if you're weak, it's going to affect you more. But if you're not, and you're strong about it, and you know how to handle these things, then it's no problem. But when it comes to research, when it comes to paranormal, there you go. That's the website. When it comes to the paranormal, it's not something to be taken lightly. In fact, I don't think anybody should be researching anything paranormal if you don't have either a gift of energy or some kind of knowledge on energy, or at least respecting it how it should. But I see these stupid shows, which I love, by the way, but I say stupid because I find them very disrespectful. You know, people that take dolls like this, right? People that take anything that's superstitious and has history, and they make it an entertainment, you are bound to end up negative, okay? So if you look back at a lot of the shows when they started with paranormal research, we're talking about, I don't remember the names, maybe like Ghost Hunters, or that's not even a name. I can't remember the name. The one that was on Travel Channel, I used to watch it. So they used to go into these haunted houses, right? And they used to go ahead, or places that are like very, very closed already because they've been closed down for years. They used to be psychiatric wards or hospitals, or people where a lot of people died. Places where a lot of people died, and they would go into with their little machines and see if they can get anything on camera. And you see them when they started, and you see them today, and they actually have so much change in their body, from tattoos to their hairstyles or their body style or the way that they are. So I'm not saying tattoos are negative, but ink is toxic. It's been already proven. So it's not also on like the positive side, okay? You are intoxicating your body. By the way, I do have a tattoo. I never got one again. But it's a way of seeing how the person starts deteriorating. So even though they go to their healers to get cleansed, there's always going to be something that sticks. Always, always, always. So at the end of the day, you are going to end up getting sick. It's inevitable. Or you can have a sudden death where your heart just stops. And it's like, oh, well, there is no scientific evidence that this has happened because of a doll. But, oh, it's just coincidence. You know, I just happened to be with the Annabelle doll, and I'm going around Gettysburg doing, you know, entertainment with it, and I died. And now somebody else took over it. His name is, did I get that one? Here. Why would you do this? Why would you want to buy a doll that is cursed? You know how this works, guys? Usually somebody did a sorcery where they've implanted a demon or more into a physical object. This is real. This exists, okay? Just like I can implant my positive energy into a sphere and I give this to people to keep them protected, it's the same thing with negative energy, except with positive. Well, we don't kill anything. It's just you either have a strong channel or you don't, okay? Annabelle doll update. Comedian Matt Rife purchases haunted home and museum. Okay, so I'm sorry for Matt Rife. The Annabelle Chatterley doll sits in a case in the Warren Occult Museum. We're just going to have to see what happens to this guy now. And I do feel bad. I don't think this is something that you should be playing around with. So from today, mark my words, from today on, maybe in a few years, let's see how his career does. Let's see how, if he starts changing in any way, if he starts getting tatted up or he starts getting sick. A lot of things are probably not going to be made public, but this is not something you should praise on. You know, it's just not right. And the worst thing of all is when they go to places where a lot of people have passed away and they mock them. If you're not in a place where people have been either murdered or died from suffering and you're not there to help them, you're mocking them. You are making them suffer even more for your stupid entertainment purposes, to get views, to live from that. That's I think more negative than anything. Imagine going to a place where there's hundreds or thousands of people trapped, and you're there to see if you can get a freaking, you know, audio of like, oh, we heard a voice. Oh, can you tell us how you died? Oh my God, it just makes me so angry inside, because this is something that I take very personal. This is something that I do on a personal level, that I'm able to do, that I have trained myself to do for many years. I'll go to places and I will release every single soul that's in the place. okay? And I do this from the bottom of my heart. I do this because I can. I do this because I've been trained and I've learned to do this. And it's actually one of my favorite things to do, is release suspended souls. I always say I prefer to help people that are no longer here physically than people that are here physically. You know why? Because once you leave your body, you have no prejudice. You don't judge. You don't have this this controlled system in your mind where everything is what you're being taught to be. You know, no, you are seeing things from an ethereal level. So there is no nudity. There is no judging in how you're wearing your outfits. There is no judging in what you do for a lifestyle. There is just your energy seeing another energy. And if you're there to help, you know, they'll be around you until you help. One of the main reasons for my trip through Mexico was actually that. I'll get like these sudden messages from our group of meditators, there's 27 of them, where they'll just say, it's time for you to go on missions, you know, and these aren't like public missions. Like, I think this might be one of the first times I'm talking about this in public. It's time for you to go on a mission. You need to, you know, go through, for the next month or two, there's going to be good energy in, oh, that's pretty. What's behind me? There's good energy through the coastal regions of Mexico, so you need to do your rituals around water. That was like my last command. So it was like, hey, Jenny, let's get in a car and just drive to Mexico and find people to do soul release with. And we released thousands and thousands of souls. So it's just such a beautiful, fulfilling feeling that I can't expect anybody to relate on this, because nobody else does this. And I'm not saying I do it alone. Like, we do this, we're 30. It's 30 of us working with energy. And that's why we're able to do this in a large scale of releasing hundreds at a time. And then when you do it often enough, you end up releasing thousands. We're talking about souls that have been trapped since the era of who knows what. One of my favorite places that I went to last October was in Morelia, Michoacan, Mexico. And that video is actually up as well. I think it's on Miami TV YouTube. It was a 1523 covenant, like an old covenant. Oh, and this comes up. And reaching that place, it was just like, Jenny, you would get to one of the they were trying to make an Airbnb out of it, and you would go to one of the rooms and it was just so cold. My camera guy got really nauseous and felt like he had to throw up. It's like, what is there? I started getting like, when there's something around me that needs help, my body gets like really, really hot, and I can get really dizzy sometimes, because they're literally trying to drain energy from my body to be able to help them. And I was called back there. And I do this, like I said, like this isn't something, I don't do this for money. Like, I do this because I can, and I love doing it. So they're like, we need your help. This place is haunted. You know, everybody gets sick. Nobody's coming. You feel the sorrow and the cries of the people at night. Nobody wants to sleep here. So I'm like, yes, take me, and you know, take me there. So I stayed there by myself the whole night. And the next morning, you can see the testimonial of the woman. It was just like, the air felt different. You breathe different. So I know that when it comes to energy, like, a lot of people are skeptical, but when it comes to proving how dense a place is and used to be, it's night and day. You know, you go into a place where souls are suffering, and you feel like there's like this really dense, thick air that you just feel heavy and you get tired and drained. And this is something for you to keep in mind also for your home. If you're living in a place where instead of feeling great by being in your home, you're feeling like you're being drained, then that means that there's not good energy in your home. So you need to do some lifestyle changes so things change and you feel great being in your home. It's very simple. It's just common sense, you guys. So yeah, these are some of the news, and I just thought I'd share those stories with you. I said I was going to do half an hour. There is nothing to fool around with. They're truly possessed. Yes, we are also on Roku. We're also on Roku. By tomorrow, if the sound wasn't great, guys, we'll fix it by tomorrow. Like I said, it's gonna be rusty. It's the first time we've done it in a while, and I think we were trying new mics, so maybe they're just not compatible and there's interference. So what time is it? Has it been half an hour? Yeah, it's been half an hour. All right, loves. So we're going to continue with these stories tomorrow. I have a lot of stories to tell you, and stick around. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get the audio right. Hopefully Enrique's been going crazy, throwing shit all over the office. So I'm sure by tomorrow he's gonna have it figured out. By the way, for some of you that are thinking like there's like 20 people here, no, it's just 2 of us. Okay, so this is how we've always done our shows, and we'll continue to do them. So yeah, sometimes things don't come out perfectly, but on our site, the audio was great. Muy bien, amigos. No les conté todo, pero creo que se me fue la media hora ya, ¿no? Sí, recontra. Vamos a vernos mañana. No tenía el chat, sé que el audio no estuvo bien para muchos de ustedes, entonces mañana les cuento un poco la historia de que estaba contando hoy, donde fuimos a un lugar embrujado. Pero bueno, mañana estaremos mejor. Como les dije, es el primero en unos meses, seguro van a haber cositas mal, así que gracias por su paciencia y mañana continuaremos. Have an amazing night, guys. Stay positive, and tomorrow will be another day. We're going to continue with a positive energy seminar in sunbeachtv.com for our members, and for the rest of you, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Nos vemos mañana 8 p.m. Seguimos para miembros en sunbeachtv.com.